right. So the next step here is we have some ideas. Now, how do we actually roll up our sleeves and begin to use technology? The company Esri, the world's largest GIS company, has been very nice to share their technology with schools all across the country, and certainly it's a key resource that students will want to use going forward to develop their own visualization. So I've worked with this technology for a few years now, and feel that they've done a very good job putting this together so that it's fairly easy to be able to use. And so I hope that that's my message that I end up sharing with you. The first thing I want to show you here is the Arcgis online website and how it's organized. So they make it very visually attractive to be able to get in and find out more about the technology and actually see some examples. So I'm going to click on a gallery here. You're able to sort through a whole series of different maps that people from all around the world have developed on a variety of different topics. And so you've got the ability here to sort on different types of maps and go in and explore them in a deeper sense. The key technology that we're going to leverage, I believe, that students and teachers are going to leverage is known as story maps. And this is a relatively new technology that Esri's developed. They've actually brought on the former chief cartographer at National Geographic, Alan Carroll, and he was a major inspiration behind the development of using Esri technologies, Esri mapping technologies, to be able to effectively tell stories. And so over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of growth in this particular technology as people have found that combining narrative and storytelling with interactive maps proves to be very, very valuable. So there's a series of different types of applications that can be developed. Two of the easier ones and very effective ones are known as story map tours and story map journals. And as we scroll down, there's some other capabilities here about being able to present a series of maps that you would walk through in a sequence. And as we scroll down a little more, tools to be able to compare two different maps, maybe a historical perspective and a current perspective. And there's a series of other technologies here. Again, we're going to focus in particular on a story map journal. They also have a gallery under story maps that shows maps that use different types of technologies like map tours and map journals, or organized by subjects. So in our case, we might be interested in nature and environment. And so there's a whole different series of selections. So no shortage of ability to be able to get in and develop a particular technology or explore a particular technology with a particular theme. So these are particular technologies. Now to kind of roll up our sleeves here and begin to show how we do this. The first thing that you would end up doing if you wanted to jump into this technology is go and create an Arcgis online account. And again, if you go to arcgis.com, this is the starting point here. I just signed out so I could sign back in and show you what you need to be able to do here. This particular screen comes up here, and you've got the ability to sign out if you already have an account. If you are just wanting to get started and explore this technology, there is the capability to be able to create a public account, but it's for non-commercial uses only. Through Esri connecting with the Connect Ed initiative, they provided the ability for schools all across the country to sign up for an organizational account. And I'll show a resource at the end of my demonstration on how that works and how you can get started with doing that. I'm going to click on the Create a Public Account button just to show you the basic information that you need to enter to be able to get into this. So it's basically just getting a password and giving your basic name and answering the security question and looking at the terms of service. I'm going to go back in and sign into my personal that that will work. So enter in my password and sign in. So some of the menu choices change up at the top. You'll see that groups were added and my content was added, and this lets you know that you're into your public account, and you can start to use Arcgis online. So in order to be able to start to, I'm going to give an example here. I'm going to show you the story map journal that I created, and then I'm going to kind of go back and walk through the steps of how I got there. So it's a story map journal that has to do with a large storm that went through Duluth, Minnesota, on June 21st, 22nd, right around the summer solstice in 2012. And so what it does is it kind of shares some information that helps you visualize and understand the storm and some of its impacts. So it's got just a little bit of basic information about the storm, and it's got about 6 or 7 different features in it that we'll begin to explore a little bit more in the future. So this is what we're going to be trying to create live as we go along. Let's go back over here. So we're back in the into our site. The very first thing that we're going to do now is go to My Content. And we're going to take a look at actually creating a new folder. I'm going to put another place for the thing that I'm going to create. So I've got a space for it, and it's going to be called, we'll just call it Webinar, and hit Create. And then now we can see that we've, on the folders that we have in our account, we have one called Webinar, and it's empty. It's ready for us to be able to start and begin our story map journal. So the very first thing we're going to do, start to create that story map, is going to be an app that we create using a template. And there's actually all kinds of templates out there that we can create. We can go in and we can search for different templates, or we've got choices on the left. Actually, the one that I'm going to want to do is build a story map. And we've got 5 different choices now. These get added, new choices get added all the time. So what we're going to do is select a story map journal. And what we're going to do there is actually create an app. So we're going to follow a process online to create our story map journal. The first thing that we might want to do here is create a name. So I'm going to call this Duluth Solstice Storm. And we can give tags. This will help later if we want to search under certain keywords. So in this particular case, we'll put in Duluth, I'll put a comma, and we'll put in Lake Superior. And then if we like, we can also put in a summary. We can say this story map journal visualizes the solstice storm of 2012. And we want to look at that. If we got multiple choices, we want to pick the right place that we want to save this. In this particular case, we're going to put it in the webinar folder here, and then we'll click Done. So that's the basic information that we need to give. And this can start. It brings up a kind of a guided process that'll lead us through developing this story map journal. The first thing we have to do is decide what kind of layout that we want to use in our story map journal. We've got 2 particular choices. The one that I'm most familiar with is the side panel. I suppose there's a way to click here and view an example of this so you can see a little more detail of what we want to work with, but I'm going to stick with this side panel technology and hit the Start button. Now we're into the editing environment to be able to create this particular story map journal. So The very first thing that we want to do now is give a name to this. If we don't like what we chose in the earlier step, we can choose something different, or we can just accept this and perhaps be able to go back and change it later. So I'm just going to click this arrow and get us on to the next phase here. You can see that we've got two different main elements of the story map journal. There's a side panel, which we chose to be on the left-hand side, and there's the main stage, which is kind of the main interactive content that we're working with. So the first thing that I'm going to do is create that home section, that section that comes up when we would bring and view the story map journal for the first time when we click on the URL. In that particular case, I want to have an impressive image that kind of gives you the idea of what happened during the storm. So I'm going to click on image. And you can see already that there are different choices. If you've got Flickr, you've got a set of photos, you can draw on that, or Picasso or Facebook, or if you've got a pointer to a URL, we can bring that in as well. And so I'm going to just flash up a little bit my demo, scroll down, and I've got a particular image that I found on the web that hopefully will be a good one that we'll want to work with. So I'm going to click on a URL here. Now, if you're using somebody else's photo, you need to get permission or credit it. And that's, I'm giving you a demo here, so I might skip over that part. But it's very important to credit your sources. It certainly is key as you move forward with the challenge. So I am going to paste in that URL. So it's clicking to an image that's on a website. And I'm going to, the other choice that we have here is how we want to position this in the main page. You can stretch it, you can center it. I'm going to leave it as still. Depending on the dimensions of your image, it may crop things a little bit, but I think we'll be okay with that. And then I'm going to click the next image here. And that gets us halfway done. We kind of have what we're going to do with our main stage now. And then the next thing we want to do is maybe we want to have some text over in the side panel that you read when you first get into your website. And I've got some that I've already selected here. I'm going to just, to make things easier, I'm going to copy and paste it from a Word document and come back over here. You can click it and enter it right here. So basically I'm saying, hey, there was this big storm in June of 2012 that hit northeast and Minnesota, and just give a little bit of background about what we're doing here. You can see that you've got lots of abilities to be able to format this text and add hyperlinks and change colors of this text that you would find in any kind of common text editing tool. So that's pretty much what we want here. I'm going to click the Add button, and we have the first entry page for our story map journal here. The text that we put in on our page, and then the image that we see that we would introduce things to. So you've got one step down here. Now, the next thing we want to do is go in and add a new section. We're going to do that a lot for 5 or 6 more times here. So we're going to add a section. And in this particular case, what I want to do is I want to provide you some information about the movement of the storm. How did this big social storm come in and move over the Duluth area? And so I'm actually going to use a website to be able to show that for you. So we're going to, under the main stage content, I'm going to call this Movement of the Storm. And we're going to go to a web page, and I'm going to bring up my little outline here, scroll down, and I've got a particular website that I'm going to bring in. Come back over and click that in the website location. And we're going to click the next button and move forward. Hopefully we got everything here. Did I mess something up? Let's try. Oh, good point. Thank you. Anna's helping me along as I go here. So we do have to configure this and choose how we're going to format the website. How, again, much like the image, is going to fit into the website. In this particular case, I want to make sure that I get both sides, and so I want to click Fit. in order to be able to get that to work. And I think now I can go and click the next button, and it'll move on to the next phase. It wants much like the last time, it wants the information for the side panel, and I do have some text that I'll put in here. Talks a little bit about that website, so we'll click and enter that in. Basically, I got this from the Iowa Environmental Mesonet, which is a really useful source for all kinds of mapping animation, particularly about storm events and weather. And so what this does is this particular website that comes up is going to show an animation up to 100 frames that kind of walk you through the movement of this particular storm. So we'll click the Add button, and you can see the text, and then we've got the website here, and you're getting an idea now how this storm came and passed through the Duluth area. So that gets us started in understanding a little bit more about this storm. Let's move on to our next section. So what we want to do here is find out the actual totals of the precipitation that fell as a result of this storm. So I'm going to call the section Storm Total Precipitation. And then what I'm going to do here is see in a map. And this is actually leveraging ArcGIS Online and the maps that the web maps you'll be able to create through your ArcGIS Online account. I've already created a few. I'll go back, if we have time at the end, to show a little bit more about how to create web maps using ArcGIS if we have time. But I want to select a map that we've already created, and it's going to be it's in my content, but you've got a choice here to look in your personal account if you're part of an organization, in the broader organization, or go way out and see what other people have shared. I'm going to type in the word storm here, and this will be the particular web map that we want to bring in. I'm going to click on to include an overview map and a legend for some of the other additional information here, and I'm going to stick, I believe, with the custom or the default configurations for the content in the map and whatnot. And hit the next button. Again, we're in our side panel content, so we'll have some things that we'll want to say about this. So jump back in. So this, the information I'm about to add about storm total precipitation comes from the National Climatic Data Center, and I use a tool called the Weather and Climate Toolkit to be able to get the pattern of precipitation for a particular storm event. And then I was able to take that information and put it as a source of information into one of my own web maps that I created using ArcGIS Online. So let's click the Add button there, and hopefully we'll have a map. Cindy wanted me to point out that this image here is a watershed. It's the watershed for the St. Louis River and the Nemadji River in the area, and it's a collection of actual sub-watersheds within that area. Duluth is here, and then just a little bit to the right of the screen, and you can extend out, you see the western arm of Lake Superior. So this map here that I can zoom into and zoom out of shows and move around, shows you where the heaviest precipitation fell. A lot of it fell over the far western part of the lake, but also a lot of it fell just, the far western part of Lake Superior. Also, a lot of it fell just to the west of the city of Duluth. So you kind of see some of these sub-watersheds that were heavily hit. So now you know kind of where the most intense rainfall happened. So the next thing that I want to add is a video of kind of what it looked like. So you've got one perspective of a map perspective of how things look. The next thing we want to do is add a video. And so the thing we're going to call this, the title we're going to call this is Raging Torrents. That's all right. And we're going to put a video in. You can see already that we have 3 particular choices. I have a video that I found on YouTube, and I'm going to go to my outline and copy this particular video and add this in. Hopefully, I will check it to make sure that it works, and it did find something, so that's a nice feature here. So select this video, and I believe that what I want to do here is probably fit this in the same way that I did before, and click on the next button. Then let's add some text to describe this. This is a video that Nelson French, who's with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, he took of Chester Creek in Duluth right after the storm. So we'll hit the add button, and you can see here we've got the storm. So we've got a video. Oops, we'll stop that now. We've got a video now to kind of show what happens when lots of rain falls in a particular watershed in our area of interest. Okay, so the next step that we want to do is take a look at the sediment plume that extended out as a result of this water and nutrients and sediment all kind of moving down from Duluth into the St. Louis River estuary and out into Lake Superior. So we're going to call this one sediment plume. In this particular case, I'm going to pick an image, and I'm going to use a URL to do that. I am going to bring in an image that I utilized in a blog post that I put together about this particular storm. And we are going to choose this to fit and hit enter, and then again we'll put in a little bit of text about this and come back into our image here. So this particular image comes from a resource called MODIS Today. MODIS is a satellite that I don't know if it's NOAA or NASA, probably, I'm not sure which one, but a federal agency I'll put up there that takes imagery all across the world. This particular portal into the satellite imagery is developed by the Space Science Engineering Center at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And let's add this in and kind of see what we get. So you can see that this is the sediment plume from the day after the storm. And you can see the red clay region extending along the shoreline out quite a ways. I could bring in images for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and you can see that sediment plume extend and spread out into the lake a little bit more. So now you're getting kind of a visual assessment of what's coming together. And we pretty much are utilizing the main kind of content that you can put into this story map journal. Now we've done video, an image, an interactive map, and a web page. So we've kind of covered all the different bases here. Now I want to talk just in the last couple slides here about the nutrient story in the area. So we're going to add another section. We're going to call this post-storm nutrients. And this is going to be another image. We'll have a URL for that, and we'll scroll down, and this, I'll describe this as we get this in. We'll fit this in, and then I hit next, and then come down and kind of put our content in here. And add that in so that this is actually a resource that Cindy mentioned earlier. It's from the National Estuarine Research Reserve System. It's their centralized data management organization. In each of the National Estuarine Research Reserves around the country, there's one in Superior, Wisconsin, and there's one on Old Woman Creek and Lake Erie. There's also, I think, 1 or 2 over in the Chesapeake Bay. they collect a lot of data. And in this particular case, the group up in Superior, Wisconsin, collected a lot of information for 4 different sites within the estuary. This is an image showing the water quality samples over 3 years at the Blackneck Bridge, kind of in the middle of the St. Louis River estuary, and what's being collected is orthophosphate in orange and chlorophyll A in blue. And so you can see that there were about 8 samples kind of from June 2016, about the time of our storm, into the fall, and you can see fairly high values for both chlorophyll and orthophosphate. And then you can see some samples that were done next year where the values typically are a little bit lower. And then you can see, at least for orthophosphate, some examples that were taken in 2014. So this is taking a visualization from the NER data site and incorporating it into our story map. Then the last element that I want to bring in are just a couple more sections that work with the data that Marty showed from Great Lakes Monitoring. So in order to put that, I'm going to call this Lake Superior Monitoring data, and then we'll do this from April 2012, and this is going to be a map. Again, it's a map that I've already created. Water is going to be the term that we use to search, and this is the map that shows water data from a sampling run around Lake Superior that was done in April 2012. I'm going to click on our extras there and hit the next button, and then I'm just going to put the word text here so we can kind of wrap up. And then so you can see that we've got an interactive map. And if we look at the legend, what I've done is taken phosphorus values and kind of used a map legend that kind of says a particular value, and anything that's above 2.5, it comes in a purple color, and anything below is in more of an orange. You can kind of see that we've got a couple higher values here. We're going to go in and do the same thing for one last map, Lake Superior monitoring data. In August 2012, and the map that we want to select a map. We'll put in the same term here, and then we'll choose the one for August 2012. Hit next, and just put text here. And then we've got another interactive map we can play with. And if you remember from last time, you can see that these far western values are a little bit lower in April, and at least the parts are a little bit higher. We can click on a particular point and bring up more information about it. Again, you've got the whole interactive capability to be able to zoom in, zoom out, and explore this information. So now we pretty much have hit the final stage here. There's a couple things that we need to do. The first one is saving our story map here and deciding whether or not we want to make it, keep it private so that only we can see it, or if we want to share it publicly. If we do share it, we get a nice URL that we can share with other people. I'll leave this kind of public for a little bit before I take it back down, because clearly this is just something we threw together quickly. But that's hitting save. Remember to hit save and then hit the share button. This allows you then to be able to share the story map. So that's pretty much it. The last thing that I want to show to you is one more a resource. This is a story map that was created by Esri to share their educational program. And so the very first thing that we have here is, if you're interested now, I want to get started with this. I want to create an organizational account. I want to find out if my school has one. This is the first map that you want to be able to go in and use here. And it's available on some of the Getting Started resources, and we'll be sure to share it as we go along. You can see that we've got a heat map here, and as we begin to scroll in to the Great Lakes region, you can see that a series of schools clear up. I'm going to actually scroll over to the Chesapeake Bay area so we can feature that. And if we click on a particular school, you've got the name of the school that has an organizational account set up. So that's a nice resource to find out if you've already got one. If you don't have one, then you may need to go talk to some of your IT people at the school, or perhaps you're able to set up your own and be the first one who gets in and sets it up. As we scroll through here, there's some other resources. I'll zoom back out and show that they've got some regional online GIS communities that we can work with. We see that there's one in Detroit, one in Lansing. If we click on this, there'll be a little bit more information I'll bring this up in a new window here. And this is a community that you may want to work with a little bit more. And then I think the last two resources I'm going to show here are examples of teachers who want GIS assistance. So here in Wisconsin, we've got a teacher in Appleton who's interested in getting some help on a few different aspects of GIS. This, I think, would be a great resource to utilize for the challenge. And then, just to show the other side, we have a series of GIS people who are willing to go out and help people. What a great resource this is to connect teachers. So we'll kind of go over here to the Chesapeake Bay region and click on that there's a GIS professional here, and there's some information, and they're sharing some things that they'll be able to do to be able to work with teachers.